Hey, gamers, this is Liz Davis from Beyond Solitaire, and I'm so happy to be here with Zenobia Award finalist and game designer Mohit Patel. He is here to represent himself and his co-designers, Aakansha Patel and Chirag Prakash Arora, who are designers of Sabotage the Raj. How are you doing tonight, Mohit?
Hey Les, doing absolutely well and really excited to be here. Yeah, thank you for having me.
No, I'm super excited to talk to you. So, for people who have not been following the Zenobia Award, what's the basic summary of what Sabotage the Raj is about?
Right, so Sabotage the Raj is set in the colonial British era, and it starts off around 1900, after 1900. So it deals with the freedom efforts of revolutionaries pre 1917, which is when the whole popular story of India's freedom struggle is usually known by. Um, right after Gandhi and all those popular events which happened post 1917. So the game basically focuses on the journey of a secret society called the Anushilan Samiti, which started off around 1899, but gathered steam by 1905 and was very active in various shapes and forms until the First World War, about 1914 or 1916, after which the British quelled the rebellion in many forms, and then we segue into the 1917 part. The game deals with the period of 1915 to 1916ish, whatever events happened and whatever efforts they made during that time period. So that's the theme aspect of it. It is a cooperative game for one to four people. Um, and players are basically members of this secret society, Anushilan Samiti, and um, through the game they are trying to gather resources, gather members, increase their presence on in Calcutta, which is the location of the game, and slowly gather more power to execute events and ultimately successfully complete plots.
Awesome. So, what made y'all decide that this was the topic for your game? Is it something you'd want to do for a while, or did you kind of see Zenobia pop up and you wanted to do something particular for the contest?
So there's a bit of a funny history there. So a couple of years ago, Andy Desa, who was also one of the Zenobia participants, he's a yeah, he's one of in India. There's in the whole gaming scene. He hosts events and he's pretty popular. And he hosted one roll and write tournament, which was like basically a game jam for a couple in a couple of days. Design a roll and write. So me and Chirag got together and made a basic roll and write about called Sabotage the Raj. But the theme wasn't really clear at that time. It was more of a um, generic game about the whole 1857 time period of independence. So basically players were trying to um, do the same thing, incite rebellion amongst the people. So once we that was a couple of years ago. Post that, um, we kept toying with the idea that maybe the theme is great, we can do something bigger up with it, but we never really crystallized into anything because 1857 to 1947 90-year period, we weren't really sure what the focus should be, because there are a lot of stories which can be told within this time period, and we weren't really, we waffled about on which area to focus on. But so yeah, and then Zenobia 2 happened, and what that did for us is, so we did the initial submission where again we weren't really sure, but by December end we needed to really focus in on the story we wanted to tell, and and doing research for all of this, right, we realized that so this whole story about the revolutionaries isn't really that well known. Of course, a few isolated incidents here and there are known by people in India as well. But for example, I'm from Calcutta and I wasn't really aware of how deep a movement this was before I started research post the initial November submission last year. So Zenobia definitely helped us focus and clarify on what we wanted to focus on. I mean, what we wanted to make as a subject for our game. So yeah, before Zenobia, we weren't really sure on what the theme should be or what specific events we need to focus on in the game. So definitely, yeah, that happened.
Awesome. And then, so there are actually 3 designers for this game. So it's you
Yeah.
and Aakansha and Chirag. So how did you decide that it was going to be a 3-person project? And then how did you make it work? Like, do you all live in the same place? Like, how often did you meet? How do you make it work with 3?
Right. Um, Akansha is my wife, and so we have made a few other games, small games here and there. Not really. I mean, we did self-publish one, but so that's how we have been into this design journey. And Chirag, um, so specifically for this game was, I mean, we have been involved on this game from the initial submission. We do game together from time to time, and yeah, we live in the same city, so that definitely helps. Um, and I think it just organically happened that yeah, let's work on this design together. So yeah, that's how it went.
I guess it made it easier to playtest. It's a cooperative game, so you could all just like
Yeah,
run it a bunch of times together.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. That did.
So what did your research look like for this game? Like, what kinds of sources did you end up finding for your topic?
So yeah, started off with a few books about the whole independence story. Um, and when we became more clear that okay, this is we want to tell a story about Kolkata and the Anushlan Samiti. There's a specific book called The Bomb in Bengal which deals in very nitty-gritty detail about this. Plus there are a few accounts of the events from from the freedom fighters themselves from that time period. So we use those to get a better sense of uh, time and place, basically. Yeah,
Excellent. And then, you kind of mentioned that, the idea that, at least the title Sabotage the Raj had been kind of on your minds for a while.
yeah.
But, it sounds like the game itself mechanically has been through a lot. How did it evolve as a game from the beginning of Zenobia process until now, like days away from submitting the final version?
So right after we submitted our proposal, um, we had these cool ideas. For example, we wanted NPCs because it was not just the Samiti members who did everything. They had powerful allies, industrialists or popular leaders who were helping them in various capacity, editors of popular newspapers. So we wanted all these characters in the game as one aspect of it. Then we wanted the resource management as well. So all of these separate parts seemed very cool, but it was very difficult to meld. It was We couldn't really figure out how to meld these together without cutting things down to size. So most of the time went on, okay, we have these cool ideas, okay, now how do we make these work together? So we could only get something cohesive and working right um, at the fag end, like 3 weeks before the final submission. And after that, it was just a crazy time period of designing the whole thing a little better in terms of graphics because it was all mostly pen and paper before that. So yeah, a lot of time to get to the working prototype, but after that things went pretty fast. So we did not really iterate a lot on separate designs, but yeah, individual parts we iterated on a lot so that we could combine them together.
Excellent. And, no pressure or anything, but you got about a week until this is due for
Yeah.
real. So what kinds of changes are happening in this like last stretch?
So yeah, compared to the last submission and this one, lot of balancing in terms of numbers, um, and I mean there were a couple of things which we were not really liking, which, as it always is, sounds cool in your head, but when you play it, it's not really that fun, or it's obvious on what the move player should make is, even if you think it's gonna be cool. So ironing those out or changing things out here and there, graphical changes a little bit to make things simpler, stuff like that is what we've been working on. um, yeah.
Excellent. So it sounds like you had a lot of really cool ideas and you kind of, you did a lot of really cool research. Was there anything that you really wanted to put in the game, but it just didn't fit? And so you had to cut it?
Yeah. So in terms of the actual history, there were a lot of informants which kind of undermined the efforts uh, of the Samiti members. And so that was one aspect, and the second was having more, uh, how do I say it, lived in, not really lived in, that's not the correct term, having more fleshed out NPCs instead of just, so right now we have allies and we have targets which
Yeah.
players can go after. Uh, so initially the thought was that each non-player character will have motivations or alignments to ideology which you can hit and you can interact with them in multiple ways. Um, but then again we could not just get it to work with them with everything else without making it super bloated, so had to simplify that a lot. Would have loved to give that sense of uh, time and place and people, but yeah, so that was one thing. And the second was, yeah, the traitor mechanism, where if you did certain actions, uh, they might come back later, similar to how it is in Robinson Crusoe, where the choices you make in events kind of can come back. So yeah, had to drop a few of those ideas. Definitely.
And then what's your very favorite part that's still in the game? Like what do you think like really expresses super well in y'all's design?
Yeah, so one thing was, so these are the little guys, right? So it's not like they could keep hitting British targets or doing things day in day out, because it's like it would take probably months to plan out one event or something and then hide from the repercussions which would definitely follow. So kind of not giving it a feel of like you're doing something day to day, day in day out. So the events and mission system, so we have plots and events and missions. So events and missions provide momentum to plots in the game. So having this like a track where missions and events take time to pass through, and if you don't do them, I mean if you leave them or too late, you don't get a chance to do those, and then um, you know they go away but
Yeah.
impact negatively. So I think that kind of helped abstract out the feel of time, where it does feel like time is passing before you attempt things. So that's something I think felt cool to come up with. Yeah.
And then also, you're dealing with a really serious historical topic. And one that's really actually not that far back in the past if you really think about it. Like it feels far,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
really not. So, how did you balance between sort of, I guess, seriousness in your topic and then also fun? Because, making a plot and pulling it off in a game like is super fun. So, like, what kinds of issues of presentation and like tone did you run into as you were designing the game?
So when it came to dealing with the actual history which happened, right? So we decided to make players um, kind of no-name characters who are helping the Samiti grow during the game, without attaching any specific personality to the actions. Of course, you have leaders who give you positive passive bonuses, and you have allies who were actually helping them out in that time period. Um, so that way, we thought it would give respect to the history, of the time period. And regarding making it fun, we focused on more resource management aspects, which people would have struggled through at that time itself, because getting money, or finding the actual resources, or figuring out how to get the weapons, or um, how to train the members who are joining the Samiti. So we focus on those aspects, uh, to immerse players into the theme. So that's how we decided to uh, engage the players in the game. Yeah.
And then when you think about people playing your game and learning about history through the topic, what are you hoping that people come away with after they have played Sabotage the Rush?
So basically, what the feel we wanted players to come away with was a deeper appreciation into the efforts taken by the people during that period, in terms of uh, how concerted of an effort it was, and it went just isolated incidents, and that this organization ran deep, and the whole movement involved a lot of people, not just in Kolkata, a lot of, like, from all over India, internationally. From UK there was the India House, then in US the Ghada Party which was involved, in Germany there was a group of people, and these people collaborated to try to bring about change, and players getting a feel of that, and understanding that, learning that, is what we are hoping to achieve.
Fantastic. Well, I'm very excited to play the game, but I'll just ask a couple of softy questions now. So I know if y'all are designing games, you're playing them. So what games that you played recently have been favorites?
So most of the weekends have gone on trying to figure out how to do this, but so I did play Feast of Odin recently, um, and the Wheel of Eternity. Really enjoyed both of those. I had gone to a meetup, and together we have enjoyed. So there's this game called Court of Miracles. I'm not sure if uh, you've heard of that one. It's a very small area control game, plays in an hour, fast, snappy. But my perennial favorite is Rising Sun. Looking forward to tabling that soon once we are done with the submission here.
Fantastic. And then are y'all online or on social media so that people can follow your work?
I mean, we do have Instagram accounts, but I doubt any of us is on Twitter. Not super active. Uh, no. But yeah, I mean, you'd like me to give you the handle, or something, or
Yeah, just give it to me after the show. I'll put it in the show notes.
okay. Um,
Just so people can
yeah,
find you.
sure.
And your BGG names if you have them.
Oh, only I have an account again, which isn't active at all. So yeah, not yeah, very very disconnected, I would say. It's not a good
But
thing,
see,
but
this is why your design's going to be good because you're actually you're unplugged and doing it like you're supposed to.
I mean, my BGG name is very boring. It's Mohit Patel. I mean,
Perfect.
yeah, yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, Mohit, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. This was awesome. And seriously, congratulations on being a Zenobia finalist. I'm really excited for y'all. And I'm thrilled to see where your game is going to go.
Thank you so much for taking the time, Liz. It was a great experience. Thank you.
All right, everybody. I mean, if you're looking for me, you can find me anywhere as Beyond Solitaire because I'm terminally online. But again, thank you, Mohit, and everybody else. Please like, subscribe, comment, ask questions, and most of all, happy gaming.
Happy gaming, everyone.